The cargo hold of the Stellar Nomad shuddered as another blast rocked the ship. Nyx, a Centaurian refugee with iridescent scales and large expressive eyes, pressed herself further into the shadows behind a stack of crates. Her heart raced, gills flaring in panic as she heard heavy footsteps approaching. "I know you're in here, little fish," a gruff voice called out. "Come out now, and maybe the captain won't space you." Nyx held her breath, willing herself to become one with the darkness. She had risked everything to sneak aboard this human vessel, hoping to escape the brutal Corax regime that had conquered her homeworld. Now, it seemed her gamble would end in failure, or worse. The footsteps grew closer. A beam of light swept across the hold, inching towards her hiding spot. Nyx closed her eyes, silently reciting a prayer to the celestial guardians of her people. Suddenly, the ship lurched violently. The searchlight clattered to the floor, and Nyx heard a string of colorful human curses. Taking advantage of the moment, she darted from her hiding place, scaled a nearby wall with her adhesive fingertips, and wedged herself into a narrow gap in the ceiling. "What the hell was that?" the crewman shouted into his comm device. A tinny voice replied, "Corax warship on R6. They're demanding we hand over any refugees or face destruction." Nyx's blood ran cold. She had hoped the human ship would be her salvation, but now it seemed she had only traded one prison for another. As the Stellar Nomad shook with another impact, Nyx realized she needed to find a way off this doomed vessel, and fast. Using her natural camouflage abilities, Nyx blended into the metallic surfaces of the ship as she crept through maintenance tunnels and air ducts. She overheard snatches of panicked conversation from the crew, piecing together the dire situation. The Corax, it seemed, had been lying in wait along this smuggling route. They knew some refugees had slipped past their blockade and were determined to make an example of any ship harboring fugitives. As Nyx navigated the bowels of the ship, she found herself near the engine room. Through a grate, she observed a heated argument between two humans. A tall, scarred man with cybernetic implants visible at his temples, and a younger woman with wildly unkempt hair and grease-stained coveralls. "We can't outrun them, Striker," the woman exclaimed, gesturing at a holographic display of the pursuing warship. "Their targeting systems will lock onto us the moment we leave FTL." The man, Striker, ran a hand through his close-cropped hair. "Then we don't leave FTL, Rex. We push the engines past the red line and slingshot around the nearest gravity well. It's our only shot." Rex's eyes widened. "That's insane. We'll tear the ship apart." "Better torn apart than boarded by the Corax," Striker growled. "You've seen what they do to their prisoners." A chill ran down Nyx's spine. She had seen it firsthand. Entire families disappeared into Corax re-education camps, never to be heard from again. As if sensing her thoughts, Striker's gaze suddenly snapped to the grate where Nyx was hidden. For a heart-stopping moment, their eyes met. Nyx prepared to flee, but instead of raising the alarm, Striker gave an almost imperceptible nod before turning back to Rex. "Get to the bridge and tell Jasper to plot the craziest course he can think of," Striker ordered. "I'll stay here and coax every last bit of power from these engines." Rex hesitated for a moment, then nodded grimly. "Aye, Captain. It's been an honor serving with you." As Rex sprinted from the engine room, Striker called out, "Oh, and Rex, if you happen to stumble across our stowaway, well, I'm sure you'll do the right thing." Once alone, Striker approached the grate and crouched down. "I know you're there," he said softly, "and I know you're scared, but right now, we need each other if we're going to survive this." Nyx's camouflage flickered as uncertainty warred with desperation. Finally she spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. "Why would you help me?" Striker's cybernetic eyes glowed faintly in the dim light. "Because it's the right thing to do. And because I've got a score to settle with the Corax. Now, are you any good with engines?" Hesitantly, Nyx emerged from her hiding spot. I was an engineer on Centauri Prime, before the invasion." A grim smile played across Stryker's face. "Then it looks like the Celestials are smiling on us both today. Come on, we've got a ship to save and some Korax bastards to outrun." As alarms blared and the stellar nomad shuddered around them, human and alien worked side by side, pushing the ship's systems far beyond their intended limits. With each passing moment, their chances of survival grew slimmer. But in the face of overwhelming odds, an unlikely partnership was forged, one that would soon change the course of the galaxy itself. The engine room of the stellar nomad thrummed with barely contained energy as Stryker and Nix worked feverishly to keep the overtaxed systems from tearing themselves apart. Sweat beaded on Stryker's brow, while Nix's scales shimmered with exertion, her natural bioluminescence pulsing in time with the ship's straining power core. "Reroute auxiliary power to the starboard shields." Stryker barked, his fingers flying over a holographic interface. "We're about to scrape the atmosphere of that gas giant." Nix chirped in affirmative, her six-fingered hands gracefully manipulating unfamiliar human technology with surprising skill. "Inertial dampeners are at 200% capacity," she reported, her melodic voice tense. "Any more stress and they'll fail completely." Stryker gritted his teeth. "We don't have a choice. It's either this or." The ship suddenly lurched violently, throwing both of them off their feet. Sparks erupted from a nearby console as the lights flickered ominously. "Status report," Stryker shouted into his comm as he helped Nix up. Rex's strained voice crackled through the speakers. "We've lost the port engine nacelle. Korax fighters are swarming us." Nix's large eyes widened in terror. "We're done for," she whispered. Stryker's cybernetic implants pulsed as he processed the situation at inhuman speeds. "Not yet, we're not," he growled. "I've got one last trick up my sleeve." He turned to Nix, his expression grave. "But I'll need your help. It's risky, and I can't order you to do this." Nix met his gaze, her fear slowly giving way to determination. "I'm already a dead woman if the Korax take this ship. What do you need me to do?" A ghost of a smile touched Stryker's lips. "That's the spirit, follow me." They raced through the bowels of the ship, ducking under hanging cables and leaping over debris as the stellar nomad shuddered around them. Stryker led them to a small, unmarked hatch near the aft of the vessel. "This," he explained as he worked to unseal the hatch, "is a prototype quantum tunneling device. It was supposed to be my ticket to early retirement, but now it might just save our skins." The hatch swung open, revealing a cramped chamber dominated by a swirling vortex of energy contained within a crystalline sphere. Nix gasped. "By the Celestials, is that?" "A controlled singularity," Stryker confirmed. "Illegal in about 12 systems, which is why it's not on any manifest. But if we can unleash it at just the right moment, we could create a localized wormhole." Nix finished, her scientific mind racing with possibilities. "But the energy requirements would be enormous." Stryker nodded grimly. "Which is why we're going to overload the warp core and channel every last jewel into this beauty." Nix's scales paled. "That's suicide." "Maybe," Stryker admitted, "but it's our only shot. I need you to help me stabilize the quantum matrix while I work on the power transfer. Your knowledge of Xenotech might be the edge we need to pull this off." For a moment, Nix hesitated. Everything in her screamed that this was madness, that she should find an escape pod and take her chances. But as she looked at Stryker, this human who had risked everything to protect her, she made her decision. "Let's do it," she said firmly. They worked in perfect synchronization, human and alien united by a common purpose. Nix's unique perception of quantum states allowed her to anticipate fluctuations in the singularity's containment field, while Stryker's augmented reflexes kept the power flow steady despite the chaos around them. The ship rocked with explosions as Korax boarding parties attempted to breach the hull. Through the comm, they heard the sounds of desperate combat as the crew fought to repel the invaders. "Stryker," Rex's voice cut through the din, Whatever you're planning, do it now. We can't hold them much longer. Stryker locked eyes with Nyx. Ready? She nodded, her scales glowing with fierce determination. Ready. With a final command, Stryker initiated the power transfer. The ship's lights dimmed as every system was drained to fuel the quantum tunneling device. The crystalline sphere began to crack, tendrils of impossible energy seeping through. Brace for impact, Stryker shouted into the ship-wide comm. The universe seemed to hold its breath for a moment. Then, with a silent flash that seared itself into Nyx's memory, reality tore itself apart. The stellar nomad, along with its pursuers, was engulfed in a maelstrom of quantum energy. Space and time twisted, folded, and reconfigured themselves in ways that defied comprehension. Nyx felt her very atoms threatening to unravel as they were pulled through the artificial wormhole. And then, as suddenly as it began, it was over. The ship emerged into an unfamiliar star system, trailing wisps of quantum energy. Of the Corax fleet, there was no sign. Stryker and Nyx picked themselves up off the floor, dazed but alive. They stared at each other in disbelief, then burst into relieved laughter. We did it. Nyx breathed, her scales shimmering with joy and residual energy. We actually did it. Stryker grinned, looking years younger despite the new scorch marks on his face. Damn right we did. Couldn't have pulled it off without you, Fidgeface. As the rest of the crew began to report in, confirming their miraculous survival, Stryker's expression grew serious once more. He placed a hand on Nyx's shoulder, his cybernetic eyes meeting her alien gaze. You've more than earned your place on this ship, he said sullenly. But I need to know, are you with us? Because something tells me our troubles are far from over. Nyx thought of her lost home, of the Corax's brutal regime, and of the unlikely alliance that had saved them all. She straightened her posture, embodying the pride of her people. I'm with you, Captain, she declared. Whatever comes next, we face it together. As they made their way to the bridge to assess their new situation, neither human nor alien could have imagined the grand adventure that awaited them, or the pivotal role they would play in shaping the destiny of the galaxy. The bridge of the stellar nomad hummed with tension as the crew took stock of their situation. Holographic displays flickered to life, revealing an unfamiliar star system teeming with swirling nebulae and dense asteroid fields. Where the hell are we? Rex muttered, her fingers dancing over the navigation console. Jasper, the ship's pilot, a lanky man with tribal tattoos snaking up his neck, shook his head in bewilderment. According to these readings, we're in the Vetari sector. That's impossible. We were nowhere near. The wormhole, Nyx interjected, her scales shimmering with excitement. It must have transported us across vast distances of space-time. Stryker nodded grimly. Which means the Corax have no idea where we are, but it also means we're deep in uncharted territory. As if to underscore his point, alarms suddenly blared throughout the ship. Rex's eyes widened as she interpreted the incoming data. Multiple bogies incoming. They're not Corax. I've never seen signatures like these before. Stryker's cybernetic implants pulsed as he quickly assessed their options. Jasper, get us moving. Use the asteroid field for cover. Nyx, I need you on weapons. Your reflexes might give us an edge. Nyx hesitated, but I've never. You're a quick study, Stryker cut her off with a reassuring nod. And right now, you're the best shot we've got. As Nyx took her position at the weapons console, the pursuing ships came into view on the main display. They were unlike anything the crew had ever seen, organic-looking vessels that pulsed and writhed as if alive. By the Celestials, Nyx breathed. Those are Zorn biomechs. I thought they were just a legend. Well, they look pretty real to me, Jasper quipped as he sent the stellar nomad into a series of dizzying maneuvers, weaving between asteroids with preternatural skill. The Zorn ships gave chase, their tendrils lashing out to grapple nearby asteroids and use them as projectiles. Nyx's hands flew over the weapons controls, her natural affinity for spatial relationships allowing her to anticipate the enemy's movements. Nice shooting, fish face. Rex cheered as Nyx's precise blasts detonated an asteroid just as it was about to impact their hull. For a moment, it seemed they might outmaneuver their pursuers, but then a massive shape loomed before them, a Zorn mothership, its surface writhing with countless tentacles. "We can't outrun that thing," Stryker growled. "Nyx, can you get a read on any vulnerabilities?" Nyx's large eyes narrowed as she studied the biomech's energy signatures. "There's a node near what I believe to be their central nervous system. If we could deliver a concentrated electromagnetic pulse—" "Say no more," Stryker grinned. "Rex, divert all non-essential power to weapons. Jasper, get us in close. We're going to thread the needle." The stellar nomad dove towards the Zorn mothership, dodging grasping tendrils and organic projectiles. Nyx's fingers danced over the weapons controls, laying down suppressing fire to clear their path. "Now," Stryker bellowed as they reached the optimal firing position. Nyx unleashed the electromagnetic pulse with pinpoint accuracy. The Zorn mothership convulsed, its tentacles flailing wildly. As they sped past, the massive biomech began to implode, creating a chain reaction that engulfed its smaller counterparts. "Yahoo!" Jasper whooped as he piloted them clear of the destruction. "That's what I call some fancy flying." But their celebration was short-lived. As the debris of the Zorn ships cleared, a new threat emerged, a sleek, predatory vessel of obvious Corax design. "How did they find us?" Rex exclaimed. Stryker's expression darkened. "They didn't. That's a long-range scout ship. We've stumbled into a Corax expeditionary force." The Corax vessel opened fire, its advanced weaponry easily overwhelming the stellar nomad's already taxed shields. "We can't take another hit like that," Nyx reported, her scales pale with worry. Stryker's mind raced, analyzing and discarding options as cybernetic speeds. Finally, he made a decision. "Jasper, set a course for that nearby planet. We're going to have to make a crash landing." "Are you insane?" Rex protested. "We have no idea what's down there." "We don't have a choice," Stryker countered. "It's our only shot at losing them and making repairs." As the ship plummeted towards the alien world, its hull glowing red-hot from atmospheric entry, the crew braced for impact. Nyx found herself instinctively reaching out to grasp Stryker's hand, drawing comfort from the human's unwavering resolve. With a bone-jarring crash, the stellar nomad plowed into the planet's surface, carving a deep furrow through strange, phosphorescent vegetation. As the ship finally ground to a halt, silence fell over the bridge. Slowly, the crew began to stir, assessing injuries and checking systems. Through the cracked viewscreen, they could see a landscape that defied description: towering crystal formations, pools of shimmering liquid, and life forms that seemed to defy the laws of biology. "Well," Stryker said, brushing debris from his shoulders, "looks like we've got our work cut out for us. Nyx, you're with me on recon. Rex, Jasper, see what you can do about repairs. And keep an eye out for our Corax friends. Something tells me they won't give up that easily." As they prepared to venture out onto this alien world, Nyx couldn't help but feel a mix of terror and exhilaration. In the span of a few short hours, she had gone from refugee to valued crew member, from hunted to hunter. Whatever challenges this strange planet held, whatever pursuits still lay ahead, she knew one thing for certain: her destiny was now inexorably linked with these remarkable humans and their battered ship. The next chapter of their adventure was about to unfold, and Nyx was ready to face it head-on. The alien landscape stretched before Stryker and Nyx as they cautiously emerged from the battered hold of the stellar nomad. The air shimmered with an iridescent haze, and the ground beneath their feet pulsed with an otherworldly energy. "Stay close," Stryker murmured, his cybernetic eyes scanning the horizon. "We don't know what kind of nasties might be lurking out here." Nyx nodded, her scales shifting to blend with the surrounding environment. "I'm detecting complex organic compounds in the atmosphere," she reported, her gills flaring as she analyzed the air. "And there's something else, a faint energy signature, unlike anything I've encountered before. They made their way through a forest of crystalline structures that chimed softly in the alien breeze. Stryker's augmented senses were on high alert, while Nyx's natural affinity for xenobiology allowed her to identify potential hazards and resources. "Look," Nyx whispered, pointing to a cluster of luminescent pods. "Those appear to be some sort of energy-rich fruit. They could help replenish our power cells." Stryker grinned. "Good eye, fish face. We'll grab some on the way back. Right now, we need to find a defensible position and assess our situation." As they crested a hill, both stopped short, awestruck by the sight before them. In a valley below stood the ruins of an ancient city, its architecture a mind-bending fusion of organic and technological elements. "By the Celestials," Nyx breathed. "Could this be the lost civilization of the Forerunners?" Stryker's brow furrowed. "I thought that was just a myth." "Many of my people believed so," Nyx explained, her eyes wide with wonder. "But there were always whispers of an advanced race that seeded the galaxy with life eons ago, only to vanish without a trace." Before Stryker could respond, a distant explosion rocked the landscape. Plumes of smoke rose from the direction of the stellar nomad. "Damn it," Stryker growled. "The Korax found us. We need to get back to the ship." They raced back through the alien terrain, Stryker's cybernetic enhancements allowing him to leap over obstacles, while Nyx used her natural agility to navigate the treacherous ground. As they approached the crash site, they saw the stellar nomad engaged in a firefight with Korax ground forces. Rex and Jasper had set up a makeshift barricade, using debris from the crash to hold off the advancing enemy. But they were clearly outnumbered and outgunned. "We need a plan," Nyx said, her scales rippling with anxiety. Stryker's eyes narrowed as he assessed the situation. "I've got one, but you're not going to like it. See that Korax dropship? If we can hijack it, we might have a chance of escaping this rock." Nyx looked at him incredulously. "That's suicide." "Probably," Stryker admitted with a roguish grin, "but I've got a few tricks up my sleeve. You in?" Despite her better judgment, Nyx found herself nodding. "Let's do it." Using Nyx's camouflage abilities and Stryker's stealth tech, they managed to sneak behind enemy lines. As they approached the dropship, however, they encountered an unexpected obstacle. A Korax commander, his armor adorned with trophies from countless conquered worlds. Well, the commander sneered, leveling a plasma rifle at them. A human and a Centaurian working together. How disgustingly quaint. Stryker tensed, ready to spring into action, but Nyx stepped forward, her voice trembling but determined. "Why are you doing this? Why conquer and destroy when there's so much wonder in the universe to explore?" The Korax commander laughed mirthlessly. "You naive fool. We conquer because we must. The darkness is coming, and only the strong will survive." "The darkness," Nyx echoed, confused. But before the commander could elaborate, a blinding light engulfed them all. When it faded, they found themselves in a vast chamber that seemed to defy the laws of physics, its walls shifting and reconfiguring constantly. A figure materialized before them, a being of pure energy, its form barely constrained by what appeared to be an advanced containment suit. "Welcome," the being said, its voice resonating in their minds rather than their ears. "I am the custodian, the last of the Forerunners, and you've arrived just in time." Stryker, Nyx, and even the Korax commander stood in stunned silence as the custodian continued. "The darkness your people fear," it addressed the Korax, "is very real. It is an entropic force that seeks to unravel the very fabric of reality. We Forerunners fought it aeons ago, and our victory came at a terrible cost." The chamber around them shimmered, showing visions of an ancient war fought on a cosmic scale. "But now the darkness stirs again," the custodian warned. "And the galaxy's only hope lies in unity, not conquest. The Korax's actions have only hastened its awakening." The Korax commander fell to his knees, the weight of this revelation crushing his long-held beliefs. Nyx stepped forward, her voice filled with a mixture of awe and determination. What can we do? How can we stop this darkness? The custodian's form flickered, as if smiling. That, young one, is why you are here. In this human, it gestured to Stryker. I see the ingenuity and adaptability that allowed your kind to flourish. And in you, Centaurian, I see the wisdom and harmony with the cosmos that we Forerunners once possessed. Stryker and Nyx exchanged glances, a newfound understanding passing between them. Together, the custodian concluded, you represent the galaxy's best hope. I will impart to you the knowledge and technology you need, but the path ahead will be fraught with danger. As the weight of their new responsibility settled upon them, Stryker squared his shoulders and grinned at Nyx. Well, Fishface, looks like we've got a galaxy to save. You up for it? Nyx's scales shimmered with determination as she nodded. Always, Captain. And so, on a forgotten world at the edge of known space, an unlikely alliance was forged, one that would shape the destiny of the galaxy in the face of an ancient, awakening evil. The stellar nomad soared through the starry void, its hull gleaming with the otherworldly technology bestowed upon it by the custodian. In the weeks since their encounter on the Forerunner world, Stryker, Nyx, and their crew had been on a relentless mission to unite the galaxy against the impending threat of the darkness. On the bridge, Nyx's scales shimmered with nervous energy as she monitored the ship's new systems. The quantum entanglement drive is stable, Captain. We're ready to make the jump to the rendezvous point. Stryker nodded, his cybernetic implants pulsing as they interfaced with the ship's enhanced controls. All right, people, this is it. The fate of the galaxy rests on what happens in the next few hours. Jasper, take us in. With a shimmer of distorted space-time, the stellar nomad vanished, reappearing instantly in a massive debris field orbiting a dying star. All around them, ships of various designs and origins hung in space. A motley armada cobbled together from former enemies and uneasy allies. Rex let out a low whistle. I never thought I'd see the day when Corax battlecruisers fought alongside Centaurian world ships. The darkness threatens us all, came a familiar voice over the comms. The viewscreen flickered to life, revealing the face of the Corax commander they had encountered on the Forerunner world. Now an unlikely ally, Commander Vex's eyes burned with determination. Old grudges need nothing in the face of extinction. Stryker leaned forward, addressing the assembled fleet. You've all seen the evidence we've gathered. The darkness is real, and it's coming for us all. But together, we have a chance. The Forerunners left us the tools to fight back, and by the stars, that's exactly what we're going to do. A chorus of affirmatives echoed through the comms as the fleet prepared for battle. But before they could mobilize, space itself seemed to tear open. A vast, writhing mass of impossible geometry poured through the rift. The darkness had arrived. By the Celestials, Nyx breathed, her eyes wide with terror and awe. Stryker's jaw set in grim determination. All ships, battle formations. Remember the plan. We need to funnel that thing towards the containment matrix. The fleet sprang into action, ships of all sizes darting and weaving as they engaged the tendrils of darkness, reaching out to consume them. The stellar nomad led the charge, its Forerunner-enhanced weapons carving paths through the encroaching void. But for every tendril it destroyed, two more seemed to take its place. Ships winked out of existence as they were enveloped by the darkness, their crews' final screams echoing across the comms before being silenced forever. We're losing too many. Commander Vex shouted, his own ship narrowly avoiding destruction. We need to close that rift. Nyx's mind raced, her understanding of xenotechnology melding with the Forerunner knowledge imparted to her. Captain, if we can overload the quantum entanglement drive at the heart of the rift, we might be able to collapse it. Stryker's cybernetic eyes met Nyx's gaze, understanding passing between them. It's a one-way trip, he said softly. Nyx nodded, her scales rippling with a mix of fear and resolve. I know, but it's the only way. For a moment, the chaos of battle seemed to fade away as human and alien regarded each other, no longer captain and crew, but friends forged in the crucible of cosmic war. Stryker opened a channel to the fleet. All ships, fall back to secondary positions. We're going in. As the Allied vessels retreated, the stellar nomads surged forward, plunging into the heart of the darkness. Tendrils of entropy lashed at their hull, reality itself seeming to unravel around them. In the engine room, Rex worked feverishly to prepare the quantum drive for overload. "It's ready," she shouted over the ship-wide comms. "But someone needs to stay behind to initiate the sequence." Before Stryker could respond, Nyx placed a hand on his arm. "It should be me," she said, her voice calm despite the fear in her eyes. "My physiology is more resistant to the effects of the darkness. I have the best chance of surviving long enough to complete the sequence." Stryker wanted to argue, to insist that they find another way. But he knew she was right. "It's been an honor serving with you, fish face," he said, his voice thick with emotion. Nyx's bioluminescence pulsed softly as she smiled. "The honor has been mine, Captain. Now go, save our galaxy." As Stryker and the rest of the crew evacuated in escape pods, Nyx made her way to the engine room. The ship groaned and twisted around her, reality bleeding into unreality as the darkness pressed in. With trembling hands, she initiated the overload sequence. The quantum drive began to hum, its energy building to impossible levels. Nyx closed her eyes, thinking of her lost homeworld, of the friends she had made, of the wonders she had seen. "For the future," she whispered. The stellar nomad erupted in an explosion of quantum energy, tearing a hole in the very fabric of space-time. The rift collapsed in on itself, taking the darkness with it. For a moment, the battlefield was bathed in blinding light, and then silence. As the Allied fleet regrouped, searching for survivors, a single escape pod drifted among the debris. Inside, Stryker stared out at the starfield, his expression a mixture of grief and hope. The darkness had been defeated, but at a terrible cost. As he watched the remaining ships begin the long process of rebuilding, Stryker made a silent vow to honor Nyx's sacrifice by forging a new future, one where the galaxy's diverse species would work together to explore the wonders of the cosmos. The war was over, but the true adventure was just beginning. 5 years had passed since the cataclysmic battle against the darkness. The galaxy, once teetering on the brink of annihilation, was slowly healing. Former enemies worked side by side to rebuild shattered worlds, and the knowledge left behind by the Forerunners ushered in an unprecedented era of technological and cultural exchange. On the bridge of the Stellar Phoenix, a sleek vessel built from the salvaged remains of the Nomad, Captain Stryker stood before a diverse crew. Humans, Centaurians, Corax, and even a few Zorn worked in harmony, a living testament to the unity forged in the crucible of cosmic war. "Status report," Stryker called out, his cybernetic implants gleaming with the latest Forerunner-inspired upgrades. "Rex, Naug's first officer," responded promptly. "All systems nominal, Captain. We're approaching the coordinates of the anomaly." Stryker nodded, his expression a mixture of anticipation and trepidation. For weeks, their long-range sensors had detected a strange energy signature emanating from an uncharted region of space. It bore an uncanny resemblance to the quantum fluctuations created by their final stand against the darkness. As they dropped out of faster-than-light travel, a collective gasp rippled through the bridge. Before them hung a swirling vortex of energy, shimmering with impossible colors and pulsing with an almost familiar rhythm. "By the Celestials," breathed Zara, a young Centaurian science officer. Her scales shimmered with barely contained excitement. "Captain, these readings, they're almost identical to the Stellar Nomad's quantum drive," Stryker finished, his voice barely above a whisper. For a moment, hope dared to bloom in his chest. Could it be possible? After all this time? "Sir," called out Vex, the former Corax commander now serving as tactical officer. "We're detecting a small object emerging from the anomaly." All eyes turned to the main view screen as a battered escape pod drifted into view. Its hull was scored and pitted, bearing the marks of an impossible journey through the very fabric of space-time. Stryker's heart raced. Bring it aboard immediately, and have a medical team standing by. Minutes stretched into eternity as the crew waited with bated breath. Finally, the intercom crackled to life. "Captain," came the astonished voice of the chief medical officer. "You're going to want to see this." Stryker raced to the medical bay, his mind whirling with possibilities. As the doors slid open, he stopped short, cybernetic eyes widening in disbelief. There, perched on the edge of an examination table, was Nyx. Her scales were pale and her form gaunt, but her large eyes sparkled with the same indomitable spirit he remembered. "Hey there, Captain," she said weakly, attempting a smile. "Sorry I'm late for my shift." In 2 strides, Stryker crossed the room and enveloped Nyx in a fierce embrace. For a moment, words failed him. When he finally spoke, his voice was thick with emotion. "Welcome home, Fishface." As Nyx recovered her strength, she shared the tale of her incredible journey. The quantum explosion had not destroyed her, but rather catapulted her through a series of alternate realities. She had witnessed countless versions of their galaxy, some where the darkness had won, others where it had never existed at all. But in every reality, Nyx explained to the rapt crew gathered in the mess hall, "I saw the potential for unity, for growth. It made me realize that what we achieved here, in our galaxy, is truly special." Stryker nodded, a newfound determination settling over him. "And now we have the chance to build on that foundation, to explore not just our own galaxy, but the multiverse itself." In the days that followed, news of Nyx's return spread throughout the allied worlds. Her story became a symbol of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, the impossible could become possible. As the Stellar Phoenix prepared for its next mission, a pioneering journey into the uncharted realms of the multiverse, Stryker found Nyx on the observation deck, gazing out at the stars. Having second thoughts, he asked, moving to stand beside her. Nyx shook her head, her scales shimmering with anticipation. "No, for the first time, I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be." Stryker smiled, reaching out to squeeze her shoulder gently. "You know, when I first found you stowed away on my ship, I never imagined we'd end up here. Saving the galaxy, exploring alternate realities, forging a new future for all species." Nyx chuckled. "It does sound a bit far-fetched when you put it like that." "Well," Stryker grinned, his cybernetic eyes twinkling, "someone once told me that humans have a remarkable ability to achieve the impossible." Nyx's bioluminescence pulsed warmly. "And Centaurians have a knack for keeping impulsive humans out of trouble." As they stood there, human and alien united by shared trials and triumphs, the vastness of the multiverse stretched out before them. Whatever challenges lay ahead, whatever wonders waited to be discovered, they would face them together. A testament to the strength found in diversity and the power of unlikely friendships. The Stellar Phoenix engines hummed to life, ready to carry its intrepid crew into the unknown. A new chapter in the galaxy's history was about to unfold, one of exploration, unity, and endless possibility. And at the heart of it all, a smuggler turned hero and a refugee turned savior stood side by side, ready to lead the way into a brighter future for all.